Enter madman, stage left. The audience rises and holds their breath. They let the vampires into their house, pretend they don't see when the teeth come out. Put a band-aid on their throat. No one wants to rock the boat, and no one wants to talk about it. You're not supposed to talk about it. The curtain rises and the players come out. Webs of lies spinning from their mouths. Start looking, listen for a little while. Attention to the men behind the curtain. Just look away when you see the blood spurting down to a steady drip. I promise to leave you a little bit. I'll be back for another drink tomorrow. I love the taste of your terror and your sorrow bathing in your blood. It's never enough. But no one wants to talk about it. It's safer not to talk about it. Pick up my strings, no more bowing to the master. I tried to run, but they only came faster. Now I stand my ground. I ain't backing down. Silver bullets in my pistol, in my holster. My will is strengthened and my confidence is bolstered. Don't test my resolve. Don't test my resolve.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Iron Mountain Hour. It is Sunday, June the 4th, 2023. My name is Cliff. I'm joined by Tim. Dustin is out tonight. He's working the graveyard shift the next couple weekends, so he'll be out the next couple weekends. We'll have him back after that. He's got to make that money. It's hard out here for a pimp, especially.
He shakes his tail feather over on Euclid.
Especially a pimp like Dustin.
By pimp, he means cowboy.
Well, I think that
out there in a cat ear and he does a little.
That sounds disrespectful to Dustin. So, I prefer gigolo or
okay,
pimp.
Gigolo.
Pimp, I think, sounds better. So,
he prefers cat boy if you ask him personally, but
he's got to work those 9 hours though. But we'll see him next week. No, week after next. Sorry, he'll be out next week. But we want to say hey to Ridge Runners. Thank you for joining us from over there in Butler, right across the lake from us. Good to have you with us. It's always nice to have local folks tune in. We got people from all across the country, so if you're new here, if you would like the video, share with people that you know that you think might be interested in these topics. Subscribe to the channel. Come back every Sunday and Wednesday at 10 where we get into all kinds of good stuff. Sundays we get into a topic like tonight we're going to do crop circles and sky art. and the Giant of Williamson County. But Wednesday nights, Tim and I usually do kind of a, I don't know, I guess you'd call it more of an IRL thing, where we kind of just look at news stories and...
We should do IRL. Like, actually go places, though. Go shake down people over on Walmart and ask them, just inappropriate questions.
Sure, that'd be a lot of
Maybe
fun.
not inappropriate, just, like, why don't you shop at Target, and put them on the spot? It's like where the prices of Walmart are.
You didn't stop shopping there because you didn't want your child to wear in the...
Oh, yeah, no agenda behind my questions. Just walk up to them and be like, do you or do you not like mosquitoes? Really throw them off with a question I shouldn't be asked. They should know the answer to that right off the bat.
I walked up to this UPS guy one day, and I had a friend who said he could get me on at UPS at the time, and so I was approaching the UPS guy.
Why is he a cat boy? I'm sorry. Keep doing it. I'll explain in a minute.
Okay, one moment. But yeah, I was talking to this UPS guy, and I asked him, "Do you like your job?" And I think he thought I was threatening to call somebody on him or something.
You like your job, buddy?
Yeah. And the way he got really offended and was like, "Well, yeah," and I was like, "No, dude." I was like, "It's a good place to work," is what I was asking. I was thinking about working there. He's like, "Oh," he's like, it's almost like he had done something that could have got him in trouble. So anyway, that was what I was going to tell you about UPS. But what were you saying about Dustin? Why is he a cat boy?
Sean asked, why is he a cat boy? I don't know. If I was going to turn him like a metamorphosis gun or something that turns you into your animal, he'd be a cat, right? Probably a big one.
Oh yeah.
I think he would admit that too.
Definitely, he definitely identifies with cats. I don't know that he identifies as a cat.
I'm saying if I had a gun that turned you into your animal counterpart, he'd be a cat.
Oh yeah, well.
Long-haired black cat, maybe a tiny panther.
Did you ever see the?
I'd be a lemur. No. Maybe that's what that is.
Did you ever see the artwork?
The edge of buildings.
Did you ever see the jump off the edge of buildings?
Not the buildings. They all jump off a cliff every year or something like that.
Oh, lemmings.
A lemming, yeah. That's what I'd turn into.
Yeah, now I don't know a lot about this, but I've heard that was actually kind of
not true.
Yeah, a made up thing.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure about exactly how that works, but let me find this profile here. I want to show you some artwork that my wife B did of Dustin when he played in Corned Beef and the Pillbillies
Tell the
with me.
kids to go in the next room.
No, we'll give you a warning before we put that on. No, really, I mean.
Is he a cat?
No, he's not a cat.
Oh.
We might not be the
I
most.
can see Goff as the possum too.
Yes.
Just coming out at night, kind
Yeah,
of.
so I might as well show you the possum
really,
now while we're here. There's the possum. That's Pissy the possum that B drew for that's our album cover there. And
I have a possum that lives in my backyard, but he's alive. I don't know if he has pills in his tail or not, but I'd be okay if he did.
yeah, this is Pissy's a pillbilly of a possum. I am at a loss because my work computer I've been using for work has a touch screen, and I use it and the touchpad together.
I'll mess with you.
So I keep wanting to go up here and use the touchpad, and I am not having any luck with it. Where do I find the photos here? I don't do Facebook. There it is. There we go. I found it there.
It's been a good while since I've used Facebook for a computer.
Got some good I can see where you might say
That's not true. I went yesterday because I didn't have a phone.
cat person.
Yeah, that's cattish.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's find the artwork though.
And it's also the fact that he eats Fancy Feast for lunch. What if he did? How gross that would be. If he found out he was eating like
Oh, where's he at?
the shredded turkey or something.
So we got a lot of photos on here that B did. Okay, there's my appeal character.
It's coming, folks. I'm just telling you, people are. We're just
Here he is.
Goff a nice little ribbing since he's up, but in reality, that's very how you say smarmy peel looking. He looks like he'd whack you with from behind.
There's Dustin.
Oh, I didn't see the cat. Okay, there you go.
Yep. So he's got his 45 CZ there.
And untied boots.
Untied boots. And he's kitten.
And a cat named Boots, probably.
I think it's Cammy. It might be Tiger. I can't remember which one. Tiger is his current cat. Cammy is his late.
I know Tiger, but does Goff own a bolo tie?
I believe he's worn one to Hillbilly shows. Yeah. Yeah, I believe he did.
I can see him with a bolo tie. Probably
Yeah,
a bolo
looked
tie with
good
a
on him.
hat that he would get distracted with and start batting like it was yarn.
No, he wore like a gothic western shirt and that bolo tie.
Gothic Western.
Yeah. If you could imagine Dustin wearing a western shirt, you know.
Chacan from the Sega Genesis.
I don't know what that is.
Is that too obscure?
Yeah, for me. I mean,
I like Gothic Western.
there's some of these things I just don't know. We can't see the cat. Oh, I'll have to. I'll have to scroll up there for you. Sorry, Champ Sean.
Down there at the bottom, yeah.
Just one moment here. The cat.
Porcupine.
I would be a porcupine.
You can't see it, but he has a wildly hairy back. That's the only thing I'm basing it on.
See, my wife says I'm a cat.
Okay. I can see that too. What's the belt buckle have on it?
Oh, that's the bolo tie.
What's that image on there?
I can't see it.
We're going to pretend it's
You just want to look at Dustin's nether regions.
Never there ain't nothing there out there. I can look at those in reality in 2 weeks.
Let's see if make sure they can see the cat here.
For all you conservatives out there, I hate to burst your bubble, but all three of us are gay guys and we all bone after each show. It's so weird.
You gotta make it weird. I'm trying to make sure they can see it. Let's see if
cat?
they. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can. The cat looks like a fox. Yeah, this was. I think this was Cammy.
Cammy the cat.
Yeah.
I can't hear the name Cammy without thinking of the Street Fighter character with the big old thighs.
Cammy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I didn't play that one much. That was like Super Street Fighter,
That was
like
like
the
Super
15th.
Street Fighter Ultra.
Yeah, Ultra 15th
Lightning
edition.
round or
Yeah,
something.
I never did learn her moves or anything. I played with her one time. I was like,
He's like a female gal.
oh, okay. Well,
Probably one of the best soundtrack video game gals like on the internet. You can find all kinds of videos where people will fit almost any situation if you put Gals theme behind them. What are we talking about tonight before I get us off again?
Honey Pie's cracking up, and Sean said if y'all did bone after the show, I'm sure you, Tim, would keep talking through it all.
Yeah, I would commentate. No, Cliff would commentate, and I would distract. So there you go. So
This dude orgy is brought to you by Tammy's. Thank you, Sean.
Cliff is foolish enough to
I'll
have
tell
a lot
B-
wider, folks.
I'll tell B that you said she's a great artist. I appreciate
He
that.
made it past
I'm sure
27
she will too.
with that thing, but doesn't mean he'll make it past 42.
Don't you remember we did the White Ladder episode? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it BS? Wouldn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I think so because
Didn't we find out?
any of the covered ones? They're all wide underneath.
Well, we did an episode on that, and I'm pretty sure we came to the conclusion.
Saying you're tempting fate.
It was pretty close to 2 years ago, I'd say, but it was part of the episode where we talked about the 27 Club and with Crash Fist Fight, and we also talked about the White Lighters, and we found that it's not really
Not really
much
that
to
unique.
that. Yeah, like a lot of people die with white lighters, a lot of people die with no lighters, and a lot of people die with colored lighters.
Yep.
Musicians
A
and
lot of people tempt fate, and some of us just go with an orange or red one. And somebody says, you know what, fate, piss all over you. I'm gonna carry a white one anyway. Mm-hmm. Try not pick up a guitar anytime soon. At least till you're 42.
let's check our document canon here and make sure it's coming in.
Does it have to be a Bic though? Is that part of the...
That's the lore anyway.
Okay,
Let's see,
was that
make
a
sure.
Bic or is that some kind of...
No,
fancy-
this is not a Bic. This is some kind
You're
of
good then.
El Cheapo. I don't
your
know,
Bic.
but here is
Devil curses don't
the
work
lighter in
without,
question.
without proper branding.
that's our document cam we're checking out because we have a little bit of this book to show you here because Tim found this story this week about crop art, and the reason I wanted to talk about crop circles and sky art and stuff like that is because recently there was a huge video on YouTube made by the Y-Files. Y'all ever heard of this this channel? This is the first time I'd ever heard
No, I
of it.
hadn't heard of
Did you watch the video I sent you?
Watched most of it.
Yeah.
At least I watched over half of it.
Dustin watched it too. Well, it really got wild at the end of it. But we watched the video on the Y-Files about crop circles, and kind of I had no idea. Okay, I wasn't exactly one of these people that there was a lot of these comments on the video that said they watched the video and they said, "Oh yeah, I remember when the guys got caught doing the hoax, or when they came forward in the 90s, the old men in England who were walking around with the boards, and they showed them how they were making their crop circles and hopping around, and they go on to say that they've been making all these crop circles all over England for the last, I forget how long they said they've been doing it, but they're old men. And obviously some people do make crop circles. And Tim's got a good, example of that right there. There's all kinds of crop art that's been made for a long time. And if you get in sky art, we can look at things like the Nazca lines in Peru that are supposed to be 15, 16,000 years old or older.
I don't know the date on it, but they're old.
I think they seem pretty primitive.
Take a big dump on Greenpeace.
let's see how old they say the Nazca lines are.
I'm gonna say 5,500.
You're gonna say 5,500?
I'm just taking a wild stab in the dark.
I was thinking they were quite old, but I could be mistaken. Let's check it out. No. Whoops.
In case you don't know, I pick my charity groups really carefully, and I almost don't pick any of them because they all suck. But Greenpeace, they're so stupid, they actually thought it'd be a good idea to go put their logo.
Oh, I was way off.
How old are they?
500 BC.
Oh, that's really old.
So yeah, but that's like 2,500 years ago.
Oh, never mind.
So I
be older than that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But no, it says they started. Oh, I guess in their current form, they're from 200 to 500 BC. But it says there are different phases.
Oh, I got you.
And they were created between 500 and 500. What do they say? What is CE? What the hell is that?
Common Era? Is that right?
Oh yeah, that's because they said they didn't want to use Christ and all that instead of whatever, man. Just BC. I'm sticking with BC. I'm not even, I just like, what's the point in changing it? BC. I don't know. Common Era. Even though it is Common Era, we still, everybody knows that the world of commerce and the world of international communication and all this stuff you use. The year that we use, which is 2023. Anno Domino, and that's the way that everybody's done it for a long time. So I don't understand why the I don't know, culture. I saw a video actually from a guy talking about it, and now that I think about it, I was watching a video on the Clovis people, and it was one of these free. I don't know if you've ever seen these on your cable through your internet, but they give you a little thing where it's like a free college level course, and it's like a bunch of lectures, and I was just interested in the Clovis people, so I watched like 13 hours of this lecturing, and it had, not just lectures, but it was interactive and had lots of good photographs and videos and stuff too, and it was interesting. You couldn't watch it all at once, obviously, but I mean, you could, but I only watched part of it. Yeah, I only watched part of it. I think the whole thing was like 40 some lectures, and they only gave me the thing free for like a week, and so I binge watched as much as I could, which is about 2 hours a day, and I thought it was really cool. But in that, the Clovis people, they really couldn't date a lot of the things there, and he went into the different ways that dating is actually used, and how it's only accurate so much, and then he went on to say how accurate it was, and it was like pretty accurate. It's like within 5 and 200 years on kind of the carbon dating that they do for stuff that they can find. But with rock dating, it's a lot less, but because you're dating stuff that's a lot older. But anyway, it's fairly accurate, and he goes on to explain why that some of academia has started using this term, this CE, I believe is what it was, BCE, and they were saying, we're finding a common, like you said, event that all the different cultures can use, and we're saying, I guess they're saying science doesn't follow, religion, so we shouldn't base our date based on a religion.
Science?
That's
in history. I mean, like, can you just take dates and just be like, "This is science now"?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's
weird to me.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't like the idea either, but I wanted to give their explanation because there's different perspectives, is what they said. Because I wanted to see if it passed the smell test to you, because to me it really doesn't.
It's a weird explanation for something that I really am pretty indifferent to, but I like Louis C.K.'s explanation for it. Have you ever heard it?
No, tell me about it.
It's called The Christians Won. That's his whole thing. He's like, can we all just admit it? The Christians won.
Well, I mean, yeah, and when you go about it, you go back through history, You know, it's you go about all these people talk about these cultures being wiped out by one way or another, but it's like these cultures were wiped out because they were the strongest at the time, and they were the strongest because they took out the older cultures around them most of the time. They swallowed up the smaller cultures, and the lords and kings, they basically enslaved or enthralled in one way or another, and were used as serfs, or set up a feudal system of some sort and controlled them in that way. And that kind of went on. Oh, it's still got this turned on.
Is that what they're looking at?
I hope not.
Y'all been looking at a table for a half hour?
Oh yeah, let's check up here. Sean says we would have to not call the year 2023. Yeah, that was exactly. That's basically what they're talking about, is where we're scientists, we're above. That's the way I took it. That's not what he said.
Name Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get it or not.
It's
well, just keep doing it because you've been doing it for a really long time. I really don't care. I just think it sounds like a squirrely explanation of why they don't want to do it. Just come out and say it because we don't like Jesus. I'd be okay with that. If they were like, we're scientists, we don't believe in God, we ain't saying that, I'd be like, okay.
we want to be inclusive to like. Yeah, but what if some I don't know. What if not Branch Davidians, because they were different, but some cult like the Jim Jones cult or whatever was to say, oh well, our God said the year started in 700 years ago, or what he's the Kool-Aid man, right, or the Flavor Aid.
Yeah, they were just Pentecostals.
But I'm just saying, if it just takes somebody, the Hale-Bopp people, Marshall Applewhite.
There you go.
Say Heaven's Gate, yeah. So he told them that. The comet was coming, and they had to kill themselves, so they would all go into the spaceship hidden in the tail of the comet, and they would take them away.
They used science.
That's right.
To figure that out, by the way. They went and bought a giant expensive telescope to make sure that thing was really up there before they did it.
Is that what they did?
And they were frugal and returned the telescope.
No shit.
They're going to kill themselves anyway. That's so weird.
That's the best thing I've ever heard about that. Terrible thing.
But one of the funny things, well, it's not funny, it's tragic, but they left, there's members still alive.
Oh, yeah? They left people behind. Yeah, I heard about that, to keep the record going.
Two of them stayed alive to keep the website going or whatever. That's an interesting one.
So those people from all kinds of different ages, we can go back all over and find evidence of sky formations, and you can look into a lot of the other rock formations, and you can see that they are created to form mirrors of the constellations in the sky. For example, the pyramids. Basically, there's a pretty good theory going around that they were match the stars in Orion's belt, and the Sphinx was a match with Leo, and when these things were created, they faced each other and mirrored one another. And Graham Hancock goes into that in his book Heaven's Mirror pretty good, and gives a pretty good overview of the theory. But it happens all around the world, in temples in Angkor Wat in Thailand, in temples in China, in Egypt, all around the world, South America. They find these temples oriented to line up with other sites that match the constellations that would have been prevalent at like the solstice or the equinox in that area at that time. And so it was pretty common around the world for people to be creating art that could only be appreciated from above. And the Nazca art lines are one example of that. But if you think of the pyramids, if that theory is correct, and the pyramids and the Sphinx were, then those are even acknowledged by mainstream archaeology to be 2,500 years old, and others think they're much older than that, including myself, in particular the Sphinx. But that's a whole other story. But either way, these things could all be taken as examples of sky art. And Tim, what he got here, and it happened just coincidentally, I'm pretty sure. I don't think you were looking for anything like this at all.
Book for a couple of years.
Oh, you've had this. Okay, I thought you just found it.
No,
okay.
When you said crop circles in the text, I was like, I got a book on that, and then that's when I realized it wasn't. It was crop art.
Oh, okay.
Which actually, I thought was even cooler because you can Google pictures of but it's from the Elizabeth and Carter County Library. They do the so I don't know what year this thing is from.
Well, it's a little less of a neat coincidence, but it's kind of a cooler contribution to the show, because you can find lots of pictures, lots of videos of crop circles out there. But I'll tell you what, if you watch the Y-Files, the video that they made on the crop circles, your mind will be blown for some of these that you didn't see of crop circles. I'm sure you've seen pictures of, but some of these things, there's videos of them being created from like 1991, and you can see these little white, that you can't really tell how far they are or how big they are because they're looking out over a really large pasture. And you can see these little white lights zooming along, and as they zoom along and zip about, suddenly this crop formation comes in. And this video is from 1991. I don't think that there would have been CGI technology available that it was this good for at least another 7 or 8 years, even by Hollywood. So if this was a fake, it was somebody who had better access to the CGI than we were seeing in the biggest, expensive blockbuster movies at the time. I'll try to find a clip of it. If it doesn't take too long, I'll show you real quick. I'm sure he won't mind me showing a little bit of it there, but let's find the WAV files. And
I want to insult him the whole time. That way he gets mad at us.
here we go. The video, I meant to put this in the description. I'll add it now. But the video is aliens and espionage, crop circles, and the CIA cover-up. They don't want you to know. Now, Tim, have you ever heard of the WAV files before? He has 2.18 million subscribers, and I've never heard of him before. I saw this video the other day. I was going to ask you. I got that.
Everybody's the Fed. I really do think this is, because I don't think that everything is the Fed. I think that a lot of times the Fed props things up that they want. But I think this guy's a Fed.
I do too.
That's right. He was so dark. I was like, first of all, the production's too good. They spent so much time on that commercial with the fish.
Yeah. For freaking soy meat
For
or
some
whatever
kind
it
of,
was.
yeah, for some kind of soy drink or something like that. And it's like, the heckle fish. Look, they even got like a thing that they can sell. I don't know. Maybe the guy's just a good marketing person.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm calling Fed.
I got that vibe too. Maybe not. But if he's not a Fed,
I love my paranoia.
If he's not a Fed, he'll definitely appreciate our questioning. If you've watched his video there, where he goes into a lot of the shady things that the CIA does. But from what I've done, I've only watched this one video, but I had a look over his channel a little bit, and it looks like the CIA keeps coming up in like spooky ways on his channel. And if I were a Fed and people were starting to find about some of the spooky things that the CIA were doing in third world countries,
Inflation. You do it yourself.
Well, they were causing revolutions and causing helping armed death squads in third world countries and helping dictators and funding guerrilla warfare all around the world and things like this. And all this stuff starts coming out when a lot of these people start whistleblowing. And a lot of this is coming out. I'd want to put out as much as I could about CIA doing alien stuff and doing crop circles and Bigfoot. If I were the CIA, that'd probably be my move. So who knows? We could
legalized MMA in France.
If they could hit us with a mind wave, right now. Who knows if we're right? So we've got to. It's like Bill Gates said about Jeffrey Epstein. Well, he's dead now, so. It just goes to show you always have to be careful.
Creepy answer.
He laughed. But he's dead now.
But, maybe he was laughing because he ain't really dead.
Well, that could be too. But let's see if we can find... I gotta go through the ads on this video. Found the video.
I just let it play itself and muted. I'm gonna sit here and...
Wix. They know I started creating a website on Wix, so they want to draw me back in there. Let's see if I can find these videos of these... crop circles being formed.
Just make sure it's in tiny screen, that way they can't copyright strike you.
I think these are all public videos, but I don't know.
You never will know when the Fed's gonna strike. I saw a picture of the Hitler Bell.
The what?
The Hitler Bell.
I don't know what that is. Oh, the Croft,
Glucan. That guy with the crazy Vegeta hair from the Ancient Aliens loves saying that word over and over again in the episode that it's on there.
Yep.
There's the fish. The Fed fish.
Where is this? See, it's such a long video. I didn't know if I'd be able to find it. I don't want to look for it forever. I didn't really. That's some fellers that said that they. Now those guys, do you think they were Feds?
Who's that?
The old guys?
What old guy?
See, I'd heard about crop
George
circles.
Norrie?
Yeah, I started talking. I'd heard about. Now he's saying that all these guys are Feds. That George Norrie's a Fed.
Yeah, I got
that. This chick's a Fed.
If you believe in controlled opposition, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you have to have a George Norrie if you are the Feds. Now, so this guy's saying that he goes into talking about Mockingbird and about how all these guys are Feds and they're part of,
including him.
Yeah, and he doesn't say himself, but I definitely could see that. But he goes into George Norrie and a lot of these mainstream conspiracy guys, Rosemary Ellen Willie I don't know. I've not heard of her before.
There's her and there's another lady that was doing the booms and stuff, but she was discredited. Even she had like all kinds of like journalistic integrity and awards and stuff, and they kind of smeared her because she suddenly decided to start doing cattle mutilation investigations.
Linda Moulton Howe.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was doing the boom thing there for a long time. That we're still hearing those around here.
Yeah, and she's a contributor on Coast to Coast a lot of times, and she has been for a long time.
I have a list of people that I could falsely accuse of being in the Fed, but that's just because I'm paranoid and stay on the internet way too much.
Okay, I think this might be it. No, that's not it. But I definitely recommend. I'm going to put this in the description. He goes into a lot of these crop circles that you see that are people created, and when you have these guys come out and start making the crop circles, and they acknowledged publicly that, hey, we're the ones making the crop circles, it's a prank we're doing, we're engineer and architect or whatever they are, and they're out there having fun in the field, and they show them tromping around with their board. And a lot of people, for them, when they saw that, they said, oh, well, crop circles, that explains it. This is people going around making crop circles, and it's just people with too much time on their hands screwing around, and they go on and they don't really think anything of it. Well, I was kind of in that camp, but not really. As I was younger, maybe a little bit, but I'd always I believed in aliens and UFOs probably more when I was a kid than I did now. But these guys, this kind of always seemed suspect to me. Is like, well, how did these guys make all the crop circles? These guys are two old men in England, and how are they making all these crop circles? Okay, yeah, people could be making some of them, but it didn't really completely fly for me. But I kind of didn't really think a whole lot about crop circles again. And I'd see them every now and then and think, wow, there's really cool ones. That must have taken a lot of engineering. But this guy in his video in the Y Files, he goes into how you can actually tell, what is a real crop circle versus what is a man-made crop circle.
Okay.
And he shows some pretty compelling differences. One of them being the way that the grass lays down. When you take a board and tromp the grass down, it breaks the grass, and kills it. And I think he's going into it right here. He also goes to show that a lot of these guys took credit for were off center. So
they weren't perfect.
But these other ones were perfect. And
that was actually going to be one of my questions. Was there anybody ever out there to look at some of the corn to see if it wasn't perfect?
Well, yes, these guys couldn't make a perfect one when they were tasked with doing it. So they had claimed all these perfect ones, and they had claimed all these where the grass it wasn't broken, it was just flowing and laying over, and it was like almost like it had been combed over itself, and none of it was broken and none of it was disturbed. The flowers weren't even knocked off of it or killed, and all the stuff was laid down. The wheat still had, the wheat was still fully intact and laid over. Yeah, and some of these were really intricate patterns. And when he gets into the video a little bit further, now he gets basically his climax. I will leave to you, but I will say the best to watch the video. It's only 55 minutes long. I definitely recommend you check it out. It's a very good watch. It's entertaining, except for just skip through like the first 3 minutes where he has that stupid video with the stupid freaking fish. I would recommend skipping through that. But sorry, Mr. Fed, but you're gonna have to lose those advertising views because I can't recommend people watch that.
What, the fish?
The fish banter in the ad at the very beginning of it.
Doesn't bother me. I actually look at it the same way I looked at this video is the same way I look at My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Oh, no.
I don't look at it with a suspicious eye because there's something awful about it. I look at it because it's too well made. It's too good. That fish is too clever. He can't write that well and do voices that good. That's obviously a hoax. It could very well just be a guy who makes videos really well, but I'm paranoid, so. I think Mark Passio's in the Fed.
They call that too clever by half. See, here's some picture. Whoops, shit. Where we go?
Man, just think in the future we'll have AI making corn crop circles for us.
He goes into showing how this is layered, in some cases even woven at the bases of them versus, you know, having the grass be trampled and the hay be trampled and the, you know, crops ruined and things like this. And, you know, he shows exactly how you can tell. And he goes really in depth. He's definitely had a team. If he's done this all by himself, it's a
team.
Yeah. He's definitely.
He's totally hiring riders. Just totally innocent. Wouldn't that be bad?
No, he's got a.
He's just good at his job, and I think he's in the Fed because he's too good at his job.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm trying to find this really great part of this because I don't want y'all to have to watch the whole video if you don't want to see his. But
well, if you're looking for it, we can just say that the way people do it is literally a board with a rope tied to the middle of it, and they just step on the board and then take a step with their normal foot and then just take it. That's how they're doing it. That's why the things break. But the ones that were woven, it seems like that would be the people that were doing that because things have to fall in a certain pattern.
Well, one, it goes into that cube is a quote unquote real one. A lot of these that you see pictures of on the internet today are actually older ones from the 80s and 90s that. I mean, now it would be a lot more. There'd be a lot more ways for somebody to create a crop circle without leaving. You know, you could use drones and you could use a lot of different things to. I don't know exactly how you do it, but smart people would figure out a way probably to make some really neat crop circles without disturbing the stuff. Like this stuff right here, I would think this would have been more recent, but this one was actually. This is an older one.
What if it's just big drones?
This is a. Flying over it with a helicopter, I assume.
Yeah, using that.
But yeah, so that one I always assumed was like an internet age video, but it's not. And if you look, you can see how that wheat is just swirled down really neatly. It's not broken, and I think that thing stayed there for a long time. And this one came in overnight. There were no other tracks through the corn. It's like this thing is so huge. Some of these circles were 1,000 feet. So if you think about that, the bigger circles on that one were 1,000 feet, and how many circles that is, how many people that would take you to do that thing in a night. I mean, you'd need a huge crew. There's no way you could be so. And see if you see this right here. Oh I'm not used to my shortcuts yet, folks. Sorry. Then I'm trying to show you these things, but these circles right here, he says in the video that these larger circles here are 1,000 feet.
Circles are huge.
And this thing comes across. Maybe he said the whole thing is. He said the larger circle is 1,000 feet, so maybe it's the whole thing is 1,000 feet. But either way, you can see how big that is. How long would that take a crew of a few people that wouldn't disturb the grass? It would take a lot of people to come in there and use the methods that were described by the two elderly gentlemen who took credit for it, for all those crop circles.
Jim, are you a brony? The world will never know. We'll talk about My Little Pony later, but no, I'm not a brony. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibilities. If I found out some cool partying individuals wanted to walk around in fursuits, and I knew they had some good drugs to score, we might go hang out in fursuits. Just saying. No, the only thing about the brony thing that does bother me is the crinkling, and I'll let you Google that if you don't know what that is.
No, I don't know what that is, and I don't want to know. I think I'll not do that.
Well, in a nutshell, it's hard for you to get in and out of a fursuit, so they just wear diapers.
I knew that's what you were going to tell me.
A convention full of people with diapers on.
I knew that's what you were going to tell me. I wish they had, you know how YouTube, well, a lot of the videos, they'll actually, even our videos, they'll have sectioned off where you can click to go into particular topics. You know, after they've been up for a while, the AI has time to read everything that we're saying. And it'll put it in sections and you can click for it. I figured they would have that on this video where you could go through the different sections, but I'll show you a couple more there. Man, we just watched a commercial.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of commercial money too, but that video has a lot of views. That video has a lot of views, 2.1 million views from 9 days ago. So yeah, they're putting. It'd be crazy not to put all the ads on if they could.
I got a brain fart, and I think this is interesting. Pokemon is here. We live in a real Pokemon world, okay?
Okay.
I may or may not have treated my last phone like a gorilla, and it may have been my fault that it broke, but we're going to blame it on the updates.
These are some cool, quote-unquote, real ones, guys.
That's really symmetrical.
Yeah, these are perfectly symmetrical, and the grass is all
They look
untouched.
textured too if you look at like the dark parts. Anyway,
Yeah.
phone broke, got a new one. Went with a Pixel this time, the Google thingy. So it's got all kinds of photograph stuff I don't need on it. I hate phones. I hope I don't break it too soon. I got a doodle pup, right? Golden doodle. It's a golden retriever, half doodle, half poodle. Anyway, phone. Take a picture of the dog, and you got that little Google Glass thing. You hit the info on it. Swear to heaven, you hit it, and it goes standard golden doodle. Tell me what it was.
I haven't tried that.
That is freaking weird. I was like, no.
I'll
No,
tell you
do
what,
not
man.
Stop helping it.
I'll tell you what, I put Facebook back on my phone for my business. I haven't had it on there in forever, and I put it back on for my business. And
Wow, look at that one.
oh yeah. Yeah,
hate yourself for
these
that?
are all quote-unquote real ones. Well, it's not really that, but I went to Walmart or went to Lowe's. Me and B went to Lowe's and got out, and my truck is like, it's not a huge truck, but it's lifted up and it's big for her to get out of. And she got out of the truck, and we were going into the store, and this guy backs in with like this giant new F-150 that has like an 8-inch lift on it and 22 or 24-inch wheels, and it's kind of ridiculous. But when he opens the door, a step goes comes out of the truck, and he steps down. I said, heck, that's what you need for my truck. And she said, yeah, I want them. And anyway, went into Lowe's, came home later that night, and my phone starts showing me. I opened up Facebook to check my business profile, and all of a sudden I see reviews for these steps, that come out of the side of your truck or whatever. I'm buying them things. How many thousands of dollars do you think they want for those things?
Well, did you see what's on the corner? He's done a video on Polybius. He's done a video on everything.
He's done a lot of videos, and I just now saw him. He's got 2 million. And see, this is a fake. He goes into how they faked the main most credible crop circle researcher. They set him up basically. They said, we're going to watch this area. They had the army, and it was like the British military. They cordoned off an area, and they said, we're going to watch this area and make sure nothing else flies over here, and we're going to see if a crop circle happens. And if a crop circle happens, then, you can investigate it. And lo and behold, a crop circle happens, and they go out there, and there's some kind of game board left. Somebody's obviously made this one. And, this guy, he's like, hey, he knows it's fake. But they're carrying on like, oh, yeah, see, this is what crop circles are. And he's like, no, this is not what we said. Somebody did this, but they wouldn't let him talk to the camera or anything. Basically, they screwed him over and discredited him for a long time. And he, like I said, he was the lead researcher on it. It was a legitimate question until then too, before the two guys came out. I don't know if y'all remember that. I think it was like 91 or something like that. I was pretty young, but I remember when it happened. And because my dad used to have this old camping trailer out on a patio out on our land, and it was full of like UFO magazines and Weekly World News and all this stuff. And it's been in there for years. Nobody touched it, but I'd go in there when I got to be like 5, 6 years old, and I'd look through these things and read all these magazines. So I've seen a lot of crop circles and stuff, but it was also in the news. It was a legitimate news story. They were trying to figure out what in the world was causing these things. And these magazines that I had read, that my dad had, they explained everything. Oh, it's these aliens, they were coming to do this, and they have this. They never really explained how they knew that this was what happened, but so they were probably feds too. But at any rate, I was always interested in the kind of thing. But when these guys came out and took credit for all of them, it was a big deal, because almost the whole world went, oh, well, that's solved then. We don't need to really investigate. All the media did, all the news media, the Mockingbird media, if you will, that were 400 journalists in 1978, according to William Colby, the CIA director. at the time. I think it was at the time. The former CIA director, but said they had at least 400 media members active as part of the Mockingbird unit, and that was back when you only had 3 major networks, and then you had, a lot of print journalism was the standard. So you had a lot of print journalists. They had them in a lot of newsrooms, and and in the cable, in the network rooms also. So you can only imagine if they had 400 in 1978, what it might look like now. So I think there's probably something to the theory that a lot of these folks that we see in the alternative media are feds also. I think Tim's made that point many times.
Mark Maron. Sorry. Like Tourette's.
I don't know that guy.
He's a stand-up comedian. He has a podcast, and I think most notably here recently he was on that Netflix series Glow, The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. He's there.
Really, Glow, and they call feds glowies because...
There you go. That's what I kind of like watched him in the limelight. One of the only podcasts to have Barack Obama on.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the different levels of Fed trolling and how
Mark Maron, MM.
Yeah, how they'll how the agents will have a sheet to where they're supposed to get into threads. Now this is I forget where this exactly came out, but I read it in the news years ago, and it was not a conspiracy site. It was a real site, but the feds have something where they go in and they will get in comments and go into chat rooms and 4chan and different boards, message boards, and they'll have agents in there commenting, and they have a whole checklist that they go through and steps that they do to move a conversation out of a productive area when you start see people talking about something that they don't want people talking about, or people organizing in some way. They'll send somebody in who takes part in the discussion and then either slides it to a different direction, who basically takes it to an incendiary level, who intentionally misinterprets the arguments in order to make bystanders to discredit the point of view of the person who they feel like needs discredited. And they had a whole checklist for how they do this on social media. But one of the ways that they did it was thread sliding, where they would always take something like crop circles and they would take it to these guys and use them. They would slide any legitimate crop circle discussion to these two guys back in England. And then you would have people come into these threads and also say, oh, well, you're just distracting from these, and but it would always be the main one would be the attention that they put on these two guys. So these guys definitely captivated the whole world and took all the attention off of whatever is really happening with the crop circles. And if you watch the Y-Files, the aliens and espionage and crop circles and CIA cover-up, they do go into why, what the differences are and why they would say that one is real and one is man-made. So I definitely recommend you check it out. I've said I was going to put that in the description. Haven't done it yet. Let me do that right now. And Tim, your book on crop art, I want to show them a little bit of this.
Crop art.
So
we're like crop tops.
Now these are obviously things. So obviously not all these are aliens.
These are not aliens.
And humans are capable of making some pretty incredible art themselves. And if you look at things like the pyramids and the Sphinx and Angkor Wat and of course the Nazca Line, the Serpent Mound, all kinds of different prehistoric sites. Some of them are prehistoric sites. Yeah. So here's Will Rogers. Somebody's made Will Rogers in their farmland. Let me tune this in. Here, you take the camera. I'll give everybody this, and you can show them the dock stuff.
You can see the little truck. Here's your airplane if you want to size comparison, see how big that is. I'll just turn pages, and you tell me if you see something that's in. Oh, there we go. We got a little Native American head here on the next page. There's your Will Rogers. Man, if you, I don't know if anybody's ever been up in planes or not. The plane always weirds me out because when you start going over non-mountainous areas, like if you go over like the flatter states, they all have like a grid pattern to them. And I've never been able to figure out what that is. But the whole middle America all the way out to the west coast. But it does look like a farm. Like even when you get out to like the deserty places like Arkansas and stuff, the land has a grid pattern to it, and I don't know what that is. But it reminds me of the crop circles because you'll see big circles on these plots of land. That
maybe we're just in a big Minecraft.
I swear I think the whole world might just be mine. I don't know. I'm okay being the crazy one. Oh, here's some
A still life of some food, some farm food.
bread.
So these are all gigantic pieces. You know, this is people standing in together.
They
So
used people as the pixels, and if you zoom in real close, I'll show you. You'll see that the pixels are actually people in red or blue. Made me think of that thing that you said that you wrote a concept album about them putting the laser light show of the gods in the sky or whatever.
yeah,
That's what this makes me think of. It's just the reverse. But I mean, how long before they start beaming commercials into the air, you think?
I don't know. But yeah, and the song that we wrote with a previous band,
Vodka.
yeah, there are a lot. It's a good way to do advertising for people flying over. But we had a song, a crinkle pup. Sean says, he asked if you were a crinkle pup.
Why crinkles? Yeah. I go commando when I'm wearing my fursuit. My fursona does not include diapers. You can rest assured. I don't know what this woman said it is. Little girl in the wind is what they're calling it. This was in Costa Rica. 1989 is what it said.
But see, lots of examples of making stuff on the ground without needing aliens to do it. But the thing is, we can go and look at these.
There's a worship service.
We can go look at
Meditation
these,
retreat on this one.
and we can tell how they were done. You know, a lot of them we may not even be able to see that it's done from the ground. But
There's your big Native American head here to finish it off.
oh, let me go back to it. Whoops, there we go. Smiling at you.
Oh yeah, he's happy.
But yeah, so lots of different stuff. This crop art, lots of different stuff. This sky art, but we can look at those other things and we can tell how they were made. You know, even the older stuff, archaeologists can look at, engineers can look at modern things, and they can say, oh, okay, well, this was obviously, we can look at the tool marks here, we can see the age of the stone, we can say how old this was made. Like when you look at these crop circles, people are genuinely pretty much at a dead end with how they're created. There's no real
Dead ends. What's the point?
Well,
to get people to go, ooh, what would be the point in aliens leaving?
Well, I've got to find this video to show you where it shows. I did put this in the description, so you can watch this video in the description. But I've got to find the part where it shows the spacecraft actually making the thing, or the craft. It's not in space, so
Is it like a
you can't say
big
it's a
drone
spacecraft. No, it looks like just little white balls. Little white balls of light.
that go in? Push
They
them
just
up?
go. They just go along the ground, and then just all of a sudden the things appear, and they just kind of spread out and flower out from the middle. Kind of, it's wild looking, man. And when the fact that the video is made in 1991 is what really, is stunning about it. Because I don't think there was any kind of CGI that was available. This might be it right here. No, that was the people who were faking it. Gosh, wish I remembered exactly where it was.
I thought when the
Oh, here it is. Found it. Oh, and there's an ad,
there's
of
a
course.
commercial, so I can talk. They sent the message in the sky. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
he talks about that.
and they beamed it back.
Yeah.
And the differences between them, Mm-hmm. The one part where it says that we're made of carbon, and the other one says
Silicon. And now we're trying to turn ourselves into
The
silicon.
first thing I thought of was, it's like, I wonder if that's just evolved humans, where all the microplastics in their blood eventually took over, and we just became like silicon creatures.
Well, did you see that video that I posted on the night? I think it was the night you were out, and I did the AI fun, and or was it the night you were here and we did AI stuff? And I showed the video of the human evolution that AI was done. I think it was just me. But in this video, I showed a video where humans had made it and had prompted each part. And each scene was like a human prompted each scene. And the AI created it and the humans tweaked it and all this stuff. This one was simply prompted to create a short film called Human Evolution. Or the Evolution of Humanity or something like that. Let me find it real quick because it's a short video. And it was an AI, and yeah, because you missed the herpes dating site, so that's why I think that was when I did that one. Let's see here. I'm not seeing it now. Yeah, it was. You remember the one where I did or did you see the one where I did the Wes Anderson trailers? and there were all these fake Wes Anderson movies made by AI. There was like a Wes Anderson makes Star Wars, Wes Anderson makes Lord of the Rings, and then lo and behold, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after those started getting really popular, and they did a whole bunch of them, like Avatar, all kinds of popular movies, as if Wes Anderson had made them, made by AI. And then lo and behold, 2 weeks later, Wes Anderson has a new movie coming out called Asteroid City. And let's see, where the hell is that? But it was pretty good video. Gosh, now I'm not finding it. Herpes dating site.
It's right here.
No, I see that.
Oh, I thought you couldn't find the herpes
Well,
dating
see, you missed this one, but this was a throwback from 2007 because you weren't here this night. Trap stock leads to 3 arrests and a meth lab find.
Nice.
They had a cardboard license plate. That was how they got stopped. In an old Impala, or it looks like a Mayberry Mayberry police
Lost
car.
tag.
Yep,
Why would you leave the house?
with the meth lab in the trunk.
Yeah.
And think the lost tag is gonna help. I actually have put a lost tag plate on a video before, on a.
Did you go
car
riding
before.
dirty afterwards?
No, I did not. I would not recommend. But it didn't. I didn't get in any trouble for doing it. Heck, I drove. When I bought my truck, I drove it from Kingsport to Elizabethton with no tag on it, and drove it, or to Great Elizabethton with no tag on it, drove it around a little bit, drove it down to get the plate, had a cop pulled up behind me on my way, and it just went on. I had no tag on those. So he's pulling me over for sure, but he didn't.
You know, I mean, I know they're not checking tags too often anymore, because you know how many tags I've seen around town that are still the pre-blue tag?
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? How do you not know your tag's out of date when everybody else has a completely different tag at this point?
Yeah, the blue ones, remember, they couldn't, that was one of the things we talked about, is they couldn't read them on the license plate readers. Let's see.
Didn't they recall that? I got my tag almost dead last.
Yeah, well, they were recalling it, but then they ended up fixing the cameras. Yeah, they just had to update them somehow. All right. Well, AI.
Well, that makes sense, because all you have to do is figure out what that blue tag did and reproduce that to every other. You know. Okay,
so since you said, you're talking about silicone life forms, and in this video, they go on to show. So we'll get to, actually, let's do that to finish this section of it up, because I want to show you the main part that I've been leading up to show you on the Y files. We're going to go full screen on this one.
I don't think we came from monkeys, by the way, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Well, watch this. No, these are not the ones where it shows it actually create it.
Acting like a monkey's fun, though.
Now watch this one. I think this is the best one.
There's the ball.
Watch it. The things just start appearing. Here's the one that blows my mind. From 2001. Okay, I thought it was 91. 2000.
It's a drone to me, you know?
No, wait a minute. Watch. One of these just takes off, and all of a sudden a crop circle's underneath it. Okay, that's not the one. Dang it! I thought I had found it. It's a fit face for sure.
Look at him. Got that orange fish representing the orange.
So he goes into this right here that Tim was just talking about, where
they sent that out what year? 80.
They sent this out in, I think,
80.
It's either late 70s, early 80s. I don't remember, but this indicated a carbon-based life form, and they went on to indicate, the length of the day. I guess I could unmute it for this.
Like a thing from the planets.
Fair use here, folks. So we'll play it out loud for you.
Seems like a stupid idea, though. Let's send out a how to beat us.
Yeah.
Card to
make sure the folks can hear it too, because desktop audio is on. Okay. Yeah. No kidding. Here's our day and night and all that stuff.
Oh, we're made of this. So don't send this way.
Yeah.
Big M at the bottom. What's that all about?
Well, they can hear it, but I don't think we can. But we know pretty much.
Can they hear
I
it?
think they can hear it.
Can they hear us?
I think they should be able to hear us both.
Good. Because I'm an asshole and I need to be heard. Carbon. That's what we're talking about, carbon. Something explains the planets. And then there's a DNA in there too. That's what we're talking about, carbon.
No,
They can't. They can just hear us. All right. Well, anyway, they're explaining that we're made of carbon, what the human looks like. I think this
solar
is the planets.
system.
Yeah,
It shows the
solar
rays. One knows means that we're on Earth, and then down here it shows the telescope array, a depiction of the telescope array that they're using to listen
There's
to.
Mickey Mouse's logo
Okay.
because Disney owns the telescope that sent it.
Well, then it was years later that they actually found they got a response signal, and they call it the Arecibo answer. Oh, look at me nailing the fast forward there. And this is what came back.
Big-headed sucker.
Big-headed, yeah, the same pattern. And this was a silicone-based life form right here. This was a carbon-based over here. That was what we sent. And they basically sent a corresponding thing and showing a different creature, showing
Oh, and they had
a
three
different
strands of
solar
DNA.
system.
That was one of the things too.
And they showed three strands of DNA, and they have 3 planets that looks like they inhabit, and then it shows like a couple of larger ones here, and you assume that these are smaller rocky ones, and this may be some sort of a base or something,
I don't know what the hell that was.
satellites or maybe something like that.
Brown dwarf.
But it seems to indicate that they're inhabiting 3 planets, and this seems to be the array that they were broadcasting from. And then they go on to, there was a crop circle that when they received this signal, this crop circle was found. I think it was like right near Stonehenge or something like that. They said, well, was this an attempt, to recreate the pattern there? And then they go on to show a lot of crazy crop circles that I just assumed that were, human made and stuff like this one. I always just assumed this was either fake or, that, people just made this one up for the internet, or that, it was, man-made, but it's got a really intricate mathematical thing, and it's like, it has all the, hallmarks of one that we can't explain, intricately done, perfectly geometrically done, which people could do, especially with the help of modern technology. They could do, but this message was here too. Apparently, beware the bearers of false gifts. Let's go back.
Fed.
Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Now, I don't know, was that happening right around 2012? Remember, it seems like we've gone to I swear to God, it seems like something really did happen, and the world shifted right around there. Everybody was waiting on, the Mayan calendar to come to end, and this massive,
4 years off.
Massive boom. But everything started, that was when, I would say social media really started picking up steam in like 2008, 2009. That's when it really started becoming, a driver of culture. Like before that, it was like people were driving it and, sharing with their friends and things like this. But then you started seeing algorithmic content recommendations.
2014 would be Adpocalypse, which is when YouTube kind of crushed the original. Because up until that point, YouTube would really let people do about whatever they wanted to. And it was a completely user-based social media platform, really, without it being too professional. In 2014, that's when they really set down the rules of who was going to make money and who wasn't.
They started.
That's just a date that's burned into me.
Started promoting content based on that, but Facebook really, it started doing kind of the algorithmic videos and kind of things like this around probably, the early 2010s. When you started.
Ticker Talker come out. Musically first.
Yeah, no, and the cop videos. It was a bunch of cop videos and people like, police brutality videos and things like this, and it make you think that there was just like police driving around, anywhere they saw a black person that they would, jump out and beat them up, and you just thought that this was normal all over the place, and it was just something that happened, and people had this crazy misconception about, how many times that, black people were just, jumped and beat up. They thought it happened to like 50% of black people or whatever, and but it was that content constantly being pushed out that cops don't like black people, and this is
if you're homeless, your life is numbered. Your day.
Yeah, those two cops beating up homeless people, and that's awful stuff that's out there, and it does happen, but it's like I don't think most people. It's a different
effect when you take like 9 months worth of stuff and you condense it into a 5-minute video and you give it to somebody that's never seen anything online before.
Yeah, and I don't think that people can really grasp the concept that this country has 350 million people in it, and I don't think really people understand how huge it is. The people that get riled up over all these stories that happen halfway across the country that don't affect them in any way, whether it be a murder or whatever. Like, we all want justice and we all want, people to not have bad things happen to them. But it's like, just think if you never knew about, I don't know, Casey Anthony. But think about how much hate people have for Casey Anthony, and how many people watched that trial and just really poured all their hate out there. Oh, I wish they'd give that girl the chair. The chair!
She's still alive?
Oh, yeah. She's out there living her best life.
That's a great line that I'm not so sure people even understand. You know what I'm saying? Live your best life.
Yeah.
I hear that and I'm like, I don't really think you can. I think you'd hate it.
No, what I mean is she's not in jail. But yeah, she's out there. And she's, become meme material. People saw her standing there in her jeans and was like, I think I can fix it or something like that. The meme. Yeah. But she's that kind of went, that kind of content with the police, police brutality videos kind of was one of the main things that people were seeing. And then all of a sudden you had a lot of these events where, police beat somebody up, particularly, a black person, become a big cultural driving event. And I feel like that a lot of that was driven by the AI pushing these videos. And then you had like a lot of really big pages forming, like Police to Police, Cop Block. I can't remember but there was, there was all these police pages that had, millions of follows. A lot of them got deleted. That's a caricature of
itself now. Like most of those people, because at one point in time it was journalism.
Yeah.
But now it's literally
people just see
unemployed people are like, I'm gonna go film the post office today, and never even explain why they're doing it. It's like, what are you doing? But that's what the audit has become: is people filming citizens and just pissing off the public.
Well, a lot of these crop circles and stuff like that.
Is that fish wearing a tin hat?
Do what?
The fish bowl. I'm pretty sure the fish bowl of the heckle fish has a tinfoil hat. Yes, it does.
Yes, it is. That's definitely a fit. Let's see if I can find that video real quick of the one just appearing before our eyes. If I can't find it, you guys really got to watch the video till you find it. And every time I skip forward a few seconds, it showed me an ad, so that's the reason I'm having such a hard time finding it in the video. But it really is mind blowing. It's going through
advanced Q-tip.
It's going through how those guys faked it. The old guys faked it and couldn't get it right when they were put on the spot. A lot of their stuff was off. And one of them, they asked them, like one of these spiral ones, and they asked these old guys how they were taking credit for all these quote unquote real ones. And they asked these guys how they did this one, and they were like, "Oh well, we took all our tools and we pole vaulted through there we pole vaulted over the corn." And like these guys are, in their 60s or 70s, and they're claiming that that's how they did these. Oh well, we just strapped our boards to ourselves and pole vaulted over the corn. And there she's showing how the wheat, even the laid down wheat, it's straight, but the standing up wheat is kind of bowed over, and they found like there was signs of radiation in. So there was some kind of signature radiation. You just have to watch the video, but that's pretty interesting too. And he goes really in depth into a lot of the a lot of the weird things that you never really heard about. Like, oh, we don't know anything about it. Well, yeah, they do know a few things. these will stay in place. You know, that it's not dead, but they're visible after after a lot of time.
Nice little Taoist emblem or something there. That's like something on Star Trek there. Or a necklace. Worn by a Wakanda member.
I've never seen any of the Black Panther movies.
It's in their Wakanda in Infinity Wars and Endgame too.
Mm.
I've seen the first Black Panther. I didn't watch any of the other ones. I got to the point where I would just consume things just because it's entertainment, you know. But I don't know about. I don't know. I've stopped counting now. I've just really stopped consuming about anything that comes out unless it's something like this.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore about that stuff.
Yeah, I don't care. See, I don't know. I don't find much that I actually care enough about to.
I need to though. That's one of the
that
things about it. Like, because if you stop paying attention to the culture, I know this sounds weird. If you stop paying attention to what everybody else is doing, you lose the ability to communicate with other people.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So I mean, that's one reason I do have to stick with it a little bit. That's a weird one.
Cymatic pattern.
And I've seen this before where they do the resonance patterns.
Different frequencies, different patterns. So you're getting a lot of these too. So you're getting signs of vibration, signs of certain frequencies of vibration, and you're also getting these metals left behind, and then you're getting shapes in those same patterns, and you're also getting the radiation signatures left on.
With the crop circles
on the crops
from below.
I guess that's possible too. I never really thought about that. A lot of they say the UFOs are actually USOs. A lot of them go down into the water.
Yeah.
And or they're calling them UAPs now, I guess, because. Like, do you think it's because they want us to talk about it now, so they don't want it to have the stigma that it used to?
Maybe, because if you say UFO, it sounds woo,
And I remember just like now the government's admitting that they had them, but you remember, I don't know if you were paying much attention to politics in 2008, but you remember Dennis Kucinich was running for, this guy mapped out, he took the crop circles and he made 3D renderings of them and made different shapes of craft.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that's interesting.
And he actually tried to have some of the craft created.
So you're telling me that there's a craft out there in the shape of a giant alien head?
Well, let me show you. Like this right here.
Eyeball and all.
He'll show you. Watch this. Now see, he takes that and renders it and then turns it around.
It looks like Prince's logo.
I don't know why it would...
Be a circle, like, why wouldn't it just be like...
Yeah, I don't know why it would leave that pattern on the ground, but it's pretty interesting some of the shapes that he gets out of these things when he does that to him. And apparently he got some big money invested into making that one of those projects, and it didn't work. But they tried it. But if I can't find this now, I'm just going to have to tell you to watch it. I'm sorry. I'd hope to show you that part. I'm just going to leave it playing here though while I tell you about. First, I'm going to play this video for you called Human Evolution. This was a very simple prompt to the Midjourney AI engine. So this is what Midjourney AI engine does when it's told to make a short film called Human Evolution. The aliens answered, man. That's badass. Yes, it is, Timothy. Yes, it is. And they're if you watch that video, I don't have all the specifics on it, but they do have a lot of the specifics on it about where and when and how this was determined that this was something other than a hoax. And if you see right here, look at this guy. He's turning into a machine. The human is turning into a machine, and then it kind of turns into some crazy looking worm creature, and then it basically looks like it turns into silicone and becomes one with the machine, and that's what the AI thinks of, human evolution. Now, pretty crazy stuff there. To think that that's when you ask an AI to make human evolution, that's what it comes up with. This is where they did the hoax with that. they have the peaks here. Let's see if we can see these. I'm going to slap this over on the side, and we're going to talk about the Williamson County giant. Y'all ever heard of the Williamson County giant? Y'all from Tennessee?
I'm not aware of it. I've never heard of it until you brought it up.
Well, just let me tell you about it. It's actually a Pleistocene megahuman. There was a giant found in Franklin, Tennessee in 1845. Now, giants and pygmies, Kevin E. Smith writes in his paper here, they've been, sideshow interests for, millennia. So when they find, prehistoric, isn't it a good thing you've got a new phone, Tim?
No idea how to make it go away. It pissed me off. There's no back button on this thing. No, don't do it. I have to figure it out on my own. No, the back button doesn't exist on the Pixel.
Swipe up from the middle.
No, I won't do it.
Swipe.
See, look, I am.
Start at the bottom of the screen.
I am.
On the edge. And
I'll tell you, I know. I've been doing this all day, and I'm telling you, it wouldn't do it just now. All it was doing was showing me all my recommended videos while you were sitting there talking to me about what I just saw you doing. I was going into a panic mode, like, how do I make this phone stop owning me? Now it works. I'm convinced that this is a frustration machine.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think you definitely are onto something there.
That the life that we live is a frustration model that's just here to peeve us off.
Well, we human beings do need struggle in order to thrive.
Really?
Yeah.
But I don't want to be human no more. I want to be a grub worm.
Well,
Under a stone all day and eat my own ass.
Kevin E. Smith has compiled some stuff on the Williamson County giant here for the Middle Cumberland Archaeological Society newsletter back in 2013. So he found some stuff from the Jeffersonian Republican, which is a newspaper. A lot of that time back then, newspapers called themselves the Republican or the Democrat. It was the Jeffersonian Republican of Stroudsburg, PA, back in October of 1845. It was the story of a giant, and said that they found in Franklin County, Tennessee, or Williamson County, Tennessee, I think is what they reckon, or what it is now. But anyway, it's from Franklin was the town, and Williamson was the county. But anyway, they found a human skeleton 50 feet deep, and they said it was 18 feet, which measures 18 feet. Oh, here's the one. Oh my God. I found it. I finally found it.
Can they see?
Y'all got to watch. Look at this. What in the hell was that? Now, let me I'll back that up so everybody can see it here in a second, but we'll make sure we have some sound here.
Reminds me of an Etch-a-Sketch.
Was that wild or what? Was that wild or what, Tim?
Remind me of a Woolly Willy.
Oh, Woolly Willy. I always wanted to put the as the most replayed. You'd think that would be the most replayed in the whole video to me.
You think? Let's show it again.
This is Oliver's Castle, and let's hope we can hear it now.
Caught it on camera until 1996. John Whaley was camping out on a hill in Wiltshire called Oliver.
It's gonna burn everybody out. Sorry, folks. Just a second.
Sorry, Tourette's kicking in.
All right. We're gonna hit you with Oliver's Castle here. With the
Castle, named for a fort that was built there many years ago.
Thank you for the feds.
Around 3 a.m., something caught his eye. He grabbed his video camera and captured footage of several glowing orbs hovering over a field. Then, like magic, whoa! Here's the formation from the air.
Is that the fish?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can agree on what crop circles mean.
It's that fish going, whoa! The heckle fish.
I thought it was somebody watching it.
I think I watched a lot more of this video than I remember.
Well, this was only 8 minutes in.
No, I think because I remember stuff way out there, and I was like, man, how did I watch this much? And I don't remember watching this.
So that was what I was trying to find for you while the whole thing. I couldn't. I didn't expect that they would have put it right at the beginning of the video, but they did. Usually you don't. Usually they bury the lead a little bit more, but they put it right at the beginning. So give the feds credit. But anyway, that was a pretty pretty awesome video to consider. I'm pretty sure they said it was from 1991. If you watch the video, they say in there when it was from. And you can see that thing created right there on your eyes, or in front of your eyes. Could have been a camera trick, but in 1991 to do that kind of trickery, that's to me, that's something that not even, 1991 was when Terminator 2 was made, or when it was released anyway. But you can see that's obviously models, and the CGI, as you can tell, is obviously CGI. Is now the ball effect around the time travel when they come from the past. That's pretty cool. Like that's some of the best use of CGI in CGI history, in my opinion. You look at all the movies with CGI.
Of what? Terminator 2?
Terminator 2, when the Terminators come from the future and they have that ball of energy around them and it eats the fence, it eats the hole and the stuff, and the Terminator 2, the liquid guy, he's pretty good. He's a little aged now if you watch him, but it's still pretty good. And especially the combination of it. We talked about it a lot, but I do think that was a good use of CGI, and I don't think that that CGI that was pretty top notch at the time even approached what you see on that video there. Let's watch it one more time.
How did CGI start getting worse? I guess it's because they were really going for it unapologetically. To think that Terminator 2 was in 92, and then you look at
Marks on the Earth.
The Mummy.
So these formations have been
not the first one, but the second one, just how ungodly, just awful The Rock looks as the Scorpion King.
Yeah.
It's like a PlayStation 2 character.
Take one more look at this before we go. Look at back to the Williamson County Giant. Again, 1991, I'm pretty sure.
It's witches on broomsticks flying. Cast a spell, makes the corn lay down.
So doesn't it kind of make sense that, if you think about that, these things are putting out a certain vibration, but those didn't look to be, 100% symmetrical either. But we saw those made right in front of us. Mm-hmm. But they did see the corn or the wheat, whatever it was, laid over gently, and that was one of the telltale signs that we saw from the other ones that indicated that they weren't made by humans. Yeah, the aliens did answer, and it is badass. It's like, but I always wondered, if there really are aliens out there and they're trying to communicate with us, like, how is it that human beings have been able to stop them from communicating, from making themselves aware, if the aliens, if they're up there and they decided we're ready to communicate with you, or maybe they're just so far away, but it just seems like we see a lot of these vehicles. Are these all probes and drones? But we have stories of beings, too, of humanoid beings with big eyes and gray faces, So if these guys are out here, maybe they just are coming down visiting, and maybe it's really just like the Men in Black, where, you got the feds, whenever people spot an alien and know they've seen one, the feds run around and cover it up, and that's how they've been doing for a long time, but who knows? But I've just wondered, what is the angle for the aliens, and what is, why would the aliens if they wanted to make themselves known to us, why would they let some Men in Black, some feds, stop us from being able to communicate with them if they really wanted to reach out to people and do that? So it seems like there has to be some sort of, if there is some sort of aliens out there that is communicating with people, they have to be using our elite class as a middleman of some sorts. So it's like a lot of, the message there that they had, there's good, we don't believe in deception. Who knows? Maybe they are not allowed to interfere or something, or who knows? Maybe they're part of some Star Trek intergalactic federation. Who knows? But for whatever reason, there's something that's, if they are out there, stopping them from communicating directly with the masses of humanity, and that something would almost have to be the feds, because they're really the only people that have control over the outlets that. They could stop you from receiving a message. They can stop a broadcast for if the feds want to shut down this broadcast right now, it would end and nobody would ever see it again. The same thing with pretty much any television broadcast. They could say national security, cut the lights, it's done, and nobody ever sees it again. But for whatever reason,
whereas
Yeah,
That's
for,
why they're
for
always-
whatever reason.
getting probed when they get us because people just got a bone a human.
There's a lot of things they'll let us talk about, but who knows? Maybe they were saying this guy was 18 feet tall. Well, if he was 18 feet tall, well, he would be, one of the biggest discovered humans ever, right? And we know the guys like the tallest guy in the world that we know of, back in the 20s was the fellow who was like 9 feet tall. I think he was 8 feet 11. And that guy looked like a monster. This says here that there was a man from Arabia who was 9 feet 9 inches tall. Emperor Maxim was 8 feet 6 inches tall. John Middleton of Lancashire, England, was 9 feet 3 inches tall. Cotter, the Irish giant, was 8 feet 7 inches tall. But this American skeleton, if he is real, back in 1845, would, put them all to shame. They say these bones are in a most perfect state, and they weigh about 1,500 pounds. And they say that basically it's preserved in the hardest kind of clay, so it filled a cavern or an opening in a rock with the clay and preserved these bones. So they were, perfectly preserved. They pulled it out, and they said it was about 18 feet high, must have stood 19 feet in his stockings if he ever wore any. The bones of the thigh and leg measured 6 feet 6 inches, so that our friend the general could have marched erect in full military costume between the giant's legs. The skull is described as being about 2 to 3 times the size of a flour barrel, capable of holding in cavities near 2 bushels. A coffee cup a good size could be put into the eye sockets, and the jaw teeth, a coffee cup a good size. You could stick a corncob pipe in his pee hole too. The bones of the thigh and leg. Oh, let's see. Let's see, where do we go? The jaw teeth are all perfect, even to the enamel, would weigh from 3.5 to 6 pounds each. Some of the smaller ones, which were loose, have apparently been weighed, and the front teeth are missing. These bear the evidence of extreme age. Their cavities are apparent diminution. Yeah. Diminution from use and wearing away. And they said an eminent physician and anatomist properly assisted, engaged in having the skeleton put together in the small deficiencies supplied by art. Now, remember we did the Giants episodes, and we talked a bit about this guy, because this is where...
D word you're looking for. It's D word you're
diminution.
I guess it's like
Diminution. Diminution. There we go. Diminution.
Diminished.
Yeah.
I've just never seen that.
Diminution.
Diminution. Okay.
So they were diminished.
Yeah. Okay.
From wearing away. They were diminished from use and wearing away. Okay, that just sounds like a guy trying to. That just sounds like a guy trying to use a word to sound smarter than he really is. An eminent physician and anatomist properly assisted, and so these guys, they were reputed anatomists and physicians that, or this one guy was an anatomist and physician, and helped put the skeleton together. But then another doctor visited later, because this guy was exhibiting it, right? The Williamson County Giant. They were putting it in plays, and here they have the Ethiopian serenaders here, and it was kind of these kind of things. You would go see the giant and listen to the Ethiopian serenaders play. And it was kind of a sideshow kind of thing. This guy was putting it out, and the owner of it, and put it in a scientific exhibition. And so somebody came along and found the thing, and saw this scientific exhibition, and said, "Hey, wait a minute, man! These guys are just not trained." An archaeologist came along and said, "This is a freaking mammoth. They find a huge mammoth down here." And he said it was clear to him, and they basically took it to, took the mammoth and put it together the wrong way and made a giant human out of it that was 18 feet tall.
That sounds stupid. How could you even do that? Look at the shoulder blades. They're tough.
Yeah, that's what they said. So that seems okay. As unlikely as it seems that somebody took a and or that found a real 18-foot.
Dang, the elephant skull on the human would look like a Pop Funko figure, just like the biggest head in the world.
Yeah. Well, there was something about it that it had great hooked incisive teeth. They said it had basically. They were saying that they maybe had the pelvis as the head or something like that, and I can't remember how they said that they screwed it up, but it seems like a physician, even a poorly trained physician, would be able to distinguish.
What's the name of that guy from the mask? Dennis?
I don't remember.
You know what I'm saying? That with the pelvis?
Yeah.
For a head?
It just seems like, yeah. Oh, Rocky Dennis. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Jim Carrey movie.
No. Wrong mask.
Oh, yeah. You said the mask. To maybe
That's
thinking
true. I meant
Jim
mask.
Carrey. Yeah, gotcha. But yeah, apparently everybody came to the conclusion, no, it's a young mastodon. They were standing it up. The pelvis was artificial and human, of course, in appearance, as was the greater part of the cranium was missing when found. So they said it was missing part of the head, maybe the part that showed that it was that had tusks, but everything else was perfectly preserved. I don't know, but they also said using some rawhide and touching it up, he kind of made it look more like a human. But they said that somebody was trying to fool people.
Well, that did happen in the past.
Yeah, it did. And here's a artist rendition, because like I said, this was 1945, of what they had there that they said was a human, and they said no, that's a mastodon. So I don't know that.
A mastodon.
I don't know enough about a mastodon's anatomy.
It wouldn't be one. I don't know. Well, I don't know. They thought that a mastodon was a cyclops when they first found it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anatomy of enough about the anatomy of a mastodon to say that. Well, they couldn't have thought that that's what it was. But
well, I'm just going.
These missing feet and hands.
There is a giant middle section where the trunk goes, and they thought that was a cyclops in the beginning. For people that can't see the screen, I'm pointing right at the dick. That's where the big hole in the middle is. They thought that was a cyclops skull. And where the tusks are, what if they put the leg bones up in there? You know, what if they put those up where the tusk holes are?
Well, this is, it doesn't look like they did.
My vote. I'm changing my vote. That could have been a mastodon skeleton reassembled into a human. Because one of the first things I remember was a book I got
If
from
you
the
look
library.
at this, I think it could be too.
There was a book I showed. It was all about fake taxidermy stuff where they'd sewed a fish onto the butt of a monkey and stuff. Like, so they did used to do that kind of tomfoolery.
Yep.
It's a good word.
Yeah, and they would take mix a deer and put a donkey's butt on it or something like that. I've seen those.
Look at him. He's that old and 18 feet tall, and he's still in the KKK with that pointy hat.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's a dunce.
They got him held up. That's where they got him strapped to the pipe. The dunce. He's definitely the one on display.
No hands.
Yeah, no feet, no hands,
That's
which would be
giveaway.
Curious to be a human if he had feet and
You
hands.
think they'd at least find a couple of phalange bones?
I certainly think that there is evidence that there were some large human skeletons, like 11, 12 feet tall, maybe even taller out there.
Skeletons in the Closet's a good
but
documentary. I've not watched it.
I do think that, yeah, definitely. I do think there used to be a lot of content on YouTube about giant skeletons, and there was a lot of videos where they would be showing them digging them out, and they would show good photographs of them. Now almost every photograph. When we made our episode on the giants, I found some good ones, and I found some good news articles, but I had to really crawl the internet and had to do some archive searching and stuff like this to find some of these artist renditions, and from like the early 1800s. So definitely check that video out, because it was a lot more organized than this one. But I had a lot of these skeletons where we could look at them, and a lot of the photographs that were really prevalent on YouTube years ago. I was able to come across some of those and put them on our show. But you used to be able to find documentaries on YouTube about giants where they would go into a lot of detail and show you really good photographs and stuff. And there's not many of them out there now. But this one, I do think. We talked about it at length in the show, and I think there's a good possibility that it was a mammoth. But there's a lot of there's kind of evidence in both ways. But looking at that picture right there, which I hadn't seen before when we did the show, like Tim, when I see that, I kind of think, well, I can see how that would be a mammoth, and that they confuse that. So anyway, there's a lot, like I said, lots of different sky art, lots of different stuff from all around the world. Who were they talking to? Did they know? Were they just kind of, was it just like our message up to the stars that we sent from the radio telescope? Is it just whoever's out there, here we are? I don't know, but definitely people have been doing it for a long time. But it seems like maybe, what if we did these messages, sent them off into space, and now these crop circles are their way of messaging back. And there's evidence of them in the Y-Files video. He goes back, 500 years or so and finds evidence of, crop circles and in myth. And like it'd be a red devil out there, flashing devil in the fields. And then when he's done, all the wheat's folded over. And so definitely watch the Y-Files video. I'll put it in the description. Like it, share it, subscribe. Come back and see us on Wednesday at 10 p.m. Me and Tim will get into the news and current events of the week. And we will blather on incessantly about those.
That's a wild looking monkey. And why's he got a pole up his butt? You see it?
That and more.
You got 2 legs here, big squirrely tail, pole up his ass.
That and more tonight 11. No, but I don't know, Tim. It's a good question. But maybe they're saying, it's a puppet monkey. Yeah, you're using the we realize you're God and the monkeys are yours to control. And, I don't know.
Maybe they like monkey a little too much.
Maybe. Definitely go check out our Rumble's channel. I'll put that in the description as well. And we will see you on Wednesday at 10 p.m. Thank you for sticking with us. And we were out of here. We are out of here. And we'll be back on Wednesday. Wednesday and then Sunday. And go back, and hardly anybody watched our video on Project Looking Glass, man. That was a really fun one. It had a lot of good stuff in it. So go back and check that out.
Dustin showed his nips.
Last week. Yeah. Definitely worth the price of admission. It's free. Free nip slips. So
well, it's not a slip. He gives you full flashy headlights, Dumb and Dumber style.
And free. Sub to his OnlyFans, though. Cat Golf 101.
Is it? Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.